The Labour manifesto comes in at a chunky 105 pages, but here's what you need to know. The first part of the manifesto, titled Time for Real Change, can be summarised in 3 words: investment, investment, investment. And the sums are pretty big. Labour will set up a £400 billion National Transformation Fund to rebuild Britain's infrastructure. Of this, £250 billion is earmarked for a green industrial revolution, transforming our energy supplies and insulating our homes. On top of this, Labour will set up a national investment bank which will lend up to £250 billion for enterprise and innovation. It's hoped this will tackle regional inequality in Britain, which, after 40 years of free market economic policies, is the worst in Europe. Next, on public services and benefits, Labour have promised to reverse the damage done by the Tories and Lib Dems.
The NHS has been destroyed. It's been destroyed.
That means Labour will scrap universal credit, which has left thousands destitute.
You're taking £439 from me. How is that supposed to work?
They'll also scrap work capability assessments, which have sanctioned the severely disabled and terminally ill.
I want them not to have their money taken away from them and being crippled.
We're going to do a number of...
The fat cats keep the money and us lot get nothing.
On the NHS, Labour will invest £26 billion a year on training new doctors and nurses and on hospital upgrades. A sharp contrast to 9 years of squeezed NHS budgets, which have seen waiting lists soar. On top of reversing cuts, Labour will bring new areas of life into the public sphere. Here, it's Labour's promise to roll out free fibre optic broadband, which has generated the most headlines. Though the offer for free personal care for over 65s and of 6 years of free adult education could prove just as revolutionary. On Europe, the manifesto doesn't contain many surprises. Labour will negotiate a soft Brexit deal which protects jobs, the NHS and the environment, and then hold a referendum where it is put against the option of remaining in the EU. On other political questions, the manifesto is more radical. Labour promised to extend the franchise to all residents regardless of whether they are UK citizens, and they'll lower the voting age to 16. They also have plans to clean up politics in Westminster. The key offer here is to ban MPs from holding second jobs. That means the likes of John Redwood will have to leave their private equity firms and live solely off their 80k MP salaries, which, as will be etched into all of our minds by the end of this election, already puts them among the country's richest 5%. These are just some of the key policies in Labour's manifesto for 21st century Britain. I haven't even mentioned scrapping tuition fees, building 500,000 council houses, or granting everyone free prescriptions. But whilst to find out the full details of Labour's platform you'll have to check out the text itself, it's worth noting here that manifestos aren't just a series of promises and plans, but also the drawing of battle lines in a general election. And the response to Labour's manifesto has already shown the powers that be are up for a fight. So what are the arguments generated by this document that will dominate the final days of this general election? First, I'd put my money on costs taking centre stage. That's because it doesn't take a brain scientist to work out Labour's plans are pretty expensive. Labour say they can pay for it with taxes on the top 5% of earners and on big businesses, as well as by borrowing to invest. The second argument will be about capitalism. The Tories like to pitch Corbyn as a Marxist extremist who wants to turn Britain into Venezuela. And it is true this manifesto increases the size of the state. But here, we need some perspective. Yes, the manifesto would increase overall spending levels as well as the size of the public sector, but whilst the state would be large by British standards, it would still be smaller as a proportion of GDP than in France, Belgium and all of Scandinavia. So critics of Labour's manifesto must answer this simple question: why shouldn't Britons be as well educated, as healthy and as happy as the French, the Belgians and the Finns? If you enjoyed that video or at least found it informative, think about sharing it on Twitter and Facebook. And if you really liked it, think about becoming a subscriber to Novara Media. This organisation and our videos are only possible because of the kind subscriptions, the kind donations of our audience. So please go to support.novaramedia.com and donate the equivalent of 1 hour's wage a month.